My Magilios. So I'm finally gonna be doing an album listening for the Destino album that they dropped. I know some of y'all were asking me or were wondering if I was gonna do this. This is gonna be my first time actually doing an album listening for Alamat, because I've only ever done like just reactions to their MVs and some of their like, if not most of their MV like title track MVs, and not much, like maybe like a B side here and there, or like special like collab stages they did with, like, with Coke Studios and such like that, or like with other artists. But yeah, so obviously I do not understand Tagalog. Obviously I don't know how many songs are going to end up being mostly in Tagalog, if there's going to be any like mixture of Tagalog and English, or any of their, obviously there are different um languages, that like Wiraya, like there, because Alama is mostly like, each of them have their own distinct like language from what area they're part of the Philippines. So obviously I do not understand any of that as well. So it's just gonna be me more so like vibing with the song, because there's no lyrics for these, and I kind of wanted to wait until maybe there was people who do lyric videos. But so far I've only ever seen one for Luz V Minda, and it's only been a couple of days already at this point since the album has dropped, or if not a week. So I just thought, like, you know what, let me just go ahead and kind of just listen to the songs, and maybe I can find. I didn't check to see if someone like maybe like Genius or anything like that have like translations, so maybe I'll look for that at the end, or maybe I'll look it up while after I listen to the first, like the song first, and then go back maybe. But yeah, I'm curious to see like what the vibe is gonna be. If it's gonna be like R&B, is it gonna be more like hip hop based, like how Luz Minda was sounding, like, because they've kind of had a variety of different genres that they have like gone through, or like experimented with. But yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and start, y'all. And obviously Luz Minda's gonna be going, we're going in order from the title track to like the other songs. And also I also have already heard Hiraya, but it has been a minute since I've heard it, because I only watched the MV, and for that one, it wasn't my like song that I would go to like listen, go back and listen to. I mostly only listen to more likely like Day and Night. I do listen to Maharani, right? No, Marahan, no, Ma Maharani. Yeah, Maharani. Yes, listen to that one a lot. Um, I'm trying to think. There's like one more song I think that I listened to like a lot that I really liked from their music as well. I think it's um which one is it? I'm trying to think of what it was. It's the one where like they're in a park. I think it's like one of the first few that I checked out, I think. I'm trying to remember. Let me see. I don't think it was Dayang. Yeah, I think it was actually Dayang. I think it was. That's the other one I really listened to a lot because I like the vibe of it. But okay, we're just gonna go ahead and start, y'all. So before I keep like rambling on for the entirety of the video. And obviously, like I already had said like what I thought this song was about, so. Also, like, I'm wondering if, like, because the album's name is, like, Destino, and, like, that means destiny in English, if that's supposed to be, like, them talking about, like, them coming together as a group, and that kind of being, like, fate or destiny or whatever, or, like, what happens in the future for them, maybe? If that's gonna be, like, a similar, like, topic throughout this album. Because, like I said, Luz Minda very much, like, sounds like either, like, a diss track or, like, a pride track, or, like, being proud of themselves and what they've built up this far. Cause if you look at the actual, like, it looks like a galaxy or like the universe or something. So like like how they say like, oh, this is the universe telling me something, like it's a sign. So maybe that's also, like I said, playing in with the whole destiny aspect. Hey. I really do like how they like do us like a more slowed down for the dance break of this, because you would think like usually when it comes to like a dance break, rap. Usually when you think of like a dance break, it's usually like more fast paced. But then like hold on before we get to that. Ooh, before we get to the next song. So like I was saying, like whenever you get to like that part, usually you would think it's like more upbeat and like more like powerful, but I think it's like a good like surprise or good like change in that, because you're just like, oh, like the song's already kind of like the same kind of beat, and they kind of go back and slow it down to like signal that's the ending of the song. But then also like with the flatlining of like the heartbeat, like it's flatlining, right? Like it sounds like it's coming to an end, like the life is like over, right? But then you hear the heartbeat again, so I'm like saying it's like kind of like symbolizing maybe rebirth as well. So like them entering this new era after being gone for like a couple, like for a little like slight break, right? So it's kind of giving that in my opinion too. But okay, we're gonna move on to the next one, because like I already have seen the lyrics for that one. So for this one, I think I actually might look it up to see if I can find it right now before we start. Okay, I think I found a website that actually has them. So let's see if this actually ends up being what the theme of it's supposed to be about. Okay. I'm gonna listen through it first and then go back and look at the lyrics, because I think it's gonna. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so definitely about like a love song, like heartbreak love song. Lo más Tomas's voice is so pretty. Like I love like how high his voice is. Okay, it's giving very much like R&B kind of vibes. Oh, the other song I really like is "Say You Love Me" or "Say I Like That one." I really like that song too because there's an R&B version of that song as well. Oh, okay, well, like little harmony. Oof. I'm like trying to figure out like whose voice is who's, 'cause, like for the most part I think I can only tell like Jao's and Tomas's. I think that was Mo's voice. Oh, I like that part. Ooh, I like the how that ended. It's like it's very much giving like R&B vibes, but like it's also interesting kind of hearing like because I've already like heard like the original kind of R&B song, and then also I've heard like K-pop R&B, occasionally like T-pop here and there, but then like this is my first time I think, well, aside from the R&B version. Well, I feel like this is like it's interesting to see like how different like everyone like or how similar it is, like because R&B ends up coming from the same place, right? But like just hearing like their own like rendition of it with like their own like lyrics, and like how they end up like what's it called, how they end up like producing like the song and like arranging it basically, right, is what I'm saying. But okay, so it's definitely giving like heartbreak for just from like part of the English lyrics that we got to see, so I'm like, or here, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm like, so definitely heartbreak song, very interesting to come from the to come from Luz V Minda, which is like like I said, very much like about like pride and very much about them like and their kind of their pride in the group, and also being kind of like I said in a way like a diss track of saying like, oh, like this is like us as a group, and we're gonna keep continuing on and like like enjoying it as much as we can. Like if you don't like it, then kind of like you don't have to like listen or whatever. So it's giving very much so like then they move on from like that, like I guess like pride, and then move on to like the next topic being like love. Is really interesting. But okay, I'm gonna look up at the English lyrics. So I went on in the spirit in this mind, heart that contains you. Only don't let me fall alone. What about the two of us? Okay, so well, no one to yeah, you could heart. Yeah, I heard that part. Can you do something you like thinking about you and what we could have been if we didn't choose to let go of all of us? Slowly let go of the world. I can't lose anything you pretend you're alone. Ready to jump you since then, scream until now. So why don't you disappear in spite of my heart now contains you? Just really want just me heartbeating. It's so good that would be beautiful. Okay, so it's either like a heartbreak song, or it's also kind of giving like a one-sided love, because like that's always like a big topic. So I think it's like interesting to see how like they're also talking about just topics that are very like relatable to so far. Okay, so we're gonna end up moving on to the next song, which is I guess Hapag. Hapag. I don't know how I'm gonna be butchering these names for the most part. I apologize in advance. Oh, I heard a guitar. I love a good guitar. I love a good guitar intro. It brings up like builds up. Handa rap. Hey. Ooh. Hey. Ooh. So another song about like, oh, they said Maharani. Hey. Like the mustard vocals, yo, I can't. Like it's just like a nice contrast to hear his like high notes, like with everyone's a little bit more deeper tones. Hey. So I'm guessing this is like a continuation to like the last song. Ah! Excuse me? No! He did not say what I just think he just said. Okay, so maybe like telling like different types of like love stories. So like with the second song, it was like I said, I was not expecting it to go like into like talking about love, but then also like it's giving, like I said, very much like either like one-sided love or like heartbreak or like the aftermath of like a relationship, like of them like trying to give their all, but then like at one point like someone ends up giving up like on the relationship completely. So then it's just like the one person left thinking about all of like those memories and everything that like could have like happened if they had stuck together and like stuck it out and like you know had that strength to like be together and work through it. And then obviously like the last one was more this, what's it called, hapag, I think is what it is. It sounds a little bit more like a little bit more like on the passionate side of love. I don't know, I'm gonna look up the lyrics because that's like the vibe from that one line. I was just like, he did not just say what I think he just said, is what it's giving. But like I said, it's very interesting how we're going from like, well, I guess like pride is also a form of love in that way, where it's like love and like what where you're from and where your country is and like your roots and like for your group in this case, right? Okay. Okay. I don't think it's in. Okay, let's see. Good morning, lady. How was your stay? It's like during comment. You don't need to be afraid anymore if you're shaking. However, you want me. I mean, you're still beautiful when I'm awake. I hope you don't lose my mind, and I'm ready to gamble everything for you. I'm going to sing the song more than part. We'll break up. I can't have that one. I don't know. People want to night. Star, I can her life. Okay, so it's like more of so about like being in like a relationship where you're like ready to like settle down to the point like you know that you love that person so much that you're just like okay I want to be in this for life and that like you know wanting to be like spend all my like waking moments with that person and you know kind of giving like very much that. Okay, they did say that line that I think about it. Okay, so yeah, very much like the passionate kind of love from like a relationship that's been like really stable for a while and then finally kind of like making it a like not official but making it like you know a lifetime like commitment is what it's giving, right? Okay, very much like was not expecting like there to be so many like topics about like love in this album just because of what it's called so far, but I mean they have talked about it recently and like not recently but in like other songs as well, like because obviously like say you love me is legit just like about that. Also like Maharani Marahan I can't why I don't know why I'm pronouncing how I'm having a hard time pronouncing it. I can like sing. I can like think of singing it, Marahani, like that song. Like it's also about you know like loving like or like liking this girl or whatever and wanting to like wanting her to like give up on her like bad like toxic relationship to like you know or for the people who are watching the MV like or like you wanting her to choose the like you know sweet person that actually cares for her and takes care of her whereas this other person always makes her cry. So it's like okay we have talked they have talked about like the topic of love a bunch of times, but yeah I'm just like it's interesting like how it's kind of telling that story, but I'm still like also confused about how what if the rest of the album is going to be completely about that or if it's going to end up playing back into the main title track or if the main because you know the main title track doesn't always it does like set the tone for the album, but sometimes like they try to do something a little bit different to like you know hype up like the fans and be like oh like wow I was not expecting them like after like being on a break for so long to like come back and it's like whoa like in your face with like the song if that makes sense. And then like the rest of the songs are like you know more on the chiller side more like but still good because I think it's more so like very much like R&B or like kind of like the sound that they have done before. But okay, we're gonna move on to the next song, which is Pagbigyan or Bad Decisions. So I'm like, what is this gonna sound like? Because the title already has me like, especially with the last song, I'm just like that one line. I was like, excuse me,
Alamat,
that
handa.
that a.
Baby, masyado ba mainit sa kasalukuyan? Di makahinga, parang
Oh,
nabibitin ko
what
lang
is?
ba sa hangin? Teka, ba't parang ginugusto ko? Napapasok dyan sa piling mo. Pag ito'y umulit, gusto kong ulitin. Di ko na mabigil-tigil.
Ooh!
Dapat ang kahit
Oh, I like
sino
that drop.
sino man. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, alalahayin ang buong mundo. Sana pagbigyan niyo. Man, oh, it's you, oh, it's you, yeah. Man, oh, it's you, girl, it's you, yeah. Why would I want you? Damn, I should've been you, yeah.
Ooh!
Man, making me do these bad decisions.
Ooh!
Bad decisions. Hanggang tila mundo ko ay hawak. Maapoy bawat galaw parang may
Like
balak.
kind of similar how
I
like
wanna know what you thinking. Parinig ka parinig. Gaano man kalaya.
so this is definitely talking about like a relationship where like you like that person so much that you're willing to do like even things that are like obviously like wrong and like bad, but like you're willing to risk it all for that person because you like them that much, you know? Oof. Ooh. I think that was that was either hey. I feel like that was Mo for sure. Woo! The little harmony at the end. I know I keep bringing up Tomas's vocals. I really do love Mo's as well, but like I just really like how like high pitched like Tomas sounds. Like at first when I first heard him, like I didn't think that it was like him singing it, you know? Ooh. Ooh, not the whispering at the end. Okay, we're gonna look up the lyrics for that now because, like I said, it's very much giving that kind of like you're willing to like be the red flag or like and do whatever like it takes to either like to please her or like you know or like you like her like this person so much or want this person so much that you're like oh like I'll do anything it takes to like you know what basically like to give my all to the relationship even if it means like I'm doing something like that I shouldn't be doing or like you know what I mean. But okay, it was bad decisions. Hmm. That's not. I don't think I'll be able to find the one for this one actually. I think it's gonna be hard. Mm. It just keeps giving me like the AI like oh yeah here it is basically like saying like making bad decisions for love even when you know it might yeah pretty much that it's pretty much like it's pretty self-explanatory so I'm just like I said very much talking about like the different types of like relationships or different types of like love in terms of like you know with a partner or like you know wanting to like settle down and stuff like that so I'm just like very interesting like they're very much like talking a lot about like that so I'm just like I know love is usually like a universal topic for you know anyone to be able to relate to so I'm just like it's very interesting to see like their different like wanting to tell like different versions of it or different like stories through like their type of like sound of music. Okay, but the next song we're gonna listen to is Bangkako no Bangkaku sa puso mo. I like I said I'm gonna be butchering the titles y'all. I'm like I apologize in advance. Okay, this is lalo na kapag minadali. Minsan natin dito ay mapait. Kapag nahanap mo doon tatamis. Oh, okay. This is like more like of a chiller kind of like.
sa puso mo. Papakita ko kung paano sa paraang kakayanin ibabaliin pangako sa'yo.
The little like melody, like the little like music box like melody. I like how it's playing throughout here.
Isipin, bagay ka sa akin. Ang daming nagsasabi na tutol sila sa'tin. Di na magdadahilan, tanungin. Kasi kaya ko naman nasagutin. Kaya tong ilaban lahat haharapin. Kita sa mga mata na may basarin.
Hey.
Kahit pa bumida, di mo matatanggi. Oh, oh, oh. Isuko mo na lang
Hey.
lahat
Okay.
sa akin. Mabigat may aking tatanggapin.
Woo! The run.
Kung saan mo nang daanan ba tungo sa puso mo. Papakita ko kung paano sa paraang kakayanin ibabaliin pangako sa'yo. Ano ang
Oh.
katotohanan? Pwede ba malaman ang totoo? Oh, may pag-asa nga ba? Maaari pang pakituro kung saan mo nang daanan patungo sa puso mo. Maaari pang pakituro kung saan mo nang daanan patungo sa puso mo. Papakita ko kung paano
Oof, the high note too.
ang kakayanin ibabaliin pangako sa'yo.
I really like that. Like, say, oh, I like that part.
Ibabaliin pangako sa'yo.
Oh, I like how they ended it off there. Okay, this one was completely in, I believe, their like either Tagalog or like their various like languages that they speak. So obviously, I can't really like. I don't know if it's supposed to be more like of a longing kind of feeling or kind of like more like it's supposed to. It's definitely more peaceful than the other songs for sure. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of me like having to like look for like the translations because I can only do so much if the title was like in like English or like part of it was in English or there was like some like, your English lyrics, it would be easier for me to like get a feel on what like it might be about for more so than me just like enjoying like the sound of it. So like this is like the first time I'm actually looking up like lyrics for like the songs while I'm listening to the album because usually I like either like I end up just doing it based like most of the time like the songs I listen to like have already English titles or like I can tell or like since I understand like a little bit like of Korean just from like me listening so much to K-pop and same thing with like T-pop here and there. I can pick up like some phrases so I can kind of get like a little bit of like what it's about, but for P-pop I still have not like there's like maybe like one or two words and that's about it that I can like tell, and then the rest of it I'm just like okay, I'm just basically basing it off of like the feeling of like the song and just like how it sounds and like if I like like the vibe of it. But okay, banga ko sa puso mo. Okay, so Promise in your heart. Okay, so that's like basically like the phrase, that the translation of the phrase. So maybe like I think did I say it was like more like it's on a kind of like a longing, kind of like more like, more relaxing kind of vibe. So with that like in mind of it being like, oh, like it being basically like promise in your heart, so maybe like, that longing of like maybe not being able to be with that person, but like, kind of like keeping like, oh, like we'll still forever like love each other kind of vibe is what it's giving. But okay, the English lyrics. Okay, falling in love isn't easy, especially when it's rushed. And sometimes it's bitter when you find it's sweet. Okay, and see in your eyes with a burden, even a smile can night except the point where it's path to your heart. I'll show you how the way I can won't break my promise to you. Yeah, so it's basically saying like, going through like the ups and downs of like winning someone's like, emotion, like affection, and like getting into the relationship, and like, making sure like you do all the right things to like, appreciate and, like respect that person. Okay, if you think about it, when people say that against does not work to ask because of it, I can't answer it. This is why I fight it all. So do with heavy heart. Stare, I'll show you the way. I won't break it. You know, is your hope? Can you please point me to the path? Break my promise to you. Yeah, so basically, yeah, like basically, respecting and, learning all these like all of like the things about this person that like can get them to like, because like a relationship is always based on like mutual like trust, mutual like feelings, being able to like share like what you're feeling with that person, and like being able to like respect it and be there for like them when they're going through like a hard time. So it's probably like talking about like that in the relationship. So I'm just like very much like I was saying, very much different types of like ups and downs, or like problems, or like different types of like relationships, or like just talking about like love in general. But okay, we're gonna move on to the last, or no, the next song. Okay, don't want to dance. Again, that guitar. Rap.
Bakit ba naghiwalay? Ngayon ako'y nag-iisa habang ikaw ay masaya. Paano ba ibalik ang dating tayo? Kung ikaw ay aking nahahagan, pwede bang ibalik ang nakaraan? Ngayon ay nandito ka sa club tonight, having a good time. Ngunit di mawakan ang iyong kamay. Di maubos maisip na hindi ka na akin. Pwede ba na ibalik? I don't wanna dance. Di ikaw kasama ko, miss ko na ang yakap mo. I don't wanna dance. Di buo ang puso ko, di ikaw kasama ko. I don't wanna dance. Di alam ko anong gagawin, ako pa ba yun napapansin? Sa gabi na may miss mo ba rin pag-ibig natin, yeah. Hanap pa rin ang mga yakap mo, nasa isip mo pa rin ba ako? When you hear my name, do you still feel the same? Girl, you know I love the way you move. You're breaking my heart in two. Wish it was me and you, deja vu.
Hey.
Di maubos maisip na hindi ka na akin. Pwede bang naibalik? Cause I don't wanna dance. Kung di ikaw kasama ko, miss ko lang yakap mo. I don't wanna dance. Hindi buo ang puso.
Okay, so far the way I'm like interpreting.
I don't wanna dance. May amor, wish you could hear this song. Ikaw na sa isipan ko, everywhere I go.
Hey.
May amor, wish you could
Ooh,
hear
isang
this song. Ikaw lang lagi nakikita anywhere I go. I don't wanna dance.
Ooh.
Say goodbye, bye, bye, bye. So why don't we go and try.
Hey, okay.
Take you back to when you were mine. Ikaw lang ang aking kailangan. Pangako kaya nagkaan. I don't wanna dance. Di ka kasama ko, miss ko na ang yakap mo. I don't wanna dance. Di buo ang puso ko, kung di ka kasama ko. I don't wanna dance. Pwede ba balikan natin ang nakaraan? I don't wanna dance. Pwede ba balikan natin ang nakaraan? I don't wanna dance.
Ooh, okay. So what I was like thinking about it, like just from like the name of the title and like turn like the parts of like the English words that they ended up using, I'm like the way I interpret it is more so like them kind of like either trying to get through like a certain problem in like a relationship, but because you know like they say like oh don't like tiptoe around like the problem, like so basically don't like don't like just get to the point and like try to like solve it. It's no there's no it's not a good thing to like just like be like oh like hinting at it and not like really like discussing it and solving the problem. So like maybe that's like the point of like them saying like that I don't want to dance, like I don't want to like either like argue or like I want to like solve this problem like quickly and not like avoid it. So it's kind of giving me that so far, like that's like what I think it's about maybe. But again, we're gonna go and look for like the lyrics for this to see if I can, if it's like even anything close to like that. That's just like the vibe that I got. Oh, okay, so no. It's about being the singer's longing for their partner, not wanting to dance with anyone else. Okay. I see. Okay, so there's just like them like saying like you're like my one and only, and that like if I go, even like if we're like maybe broken up or something like that, then and I end up going to like the club is what they were saying, right? That I'm just gonna be there to like for the vibes. I'm not there to like find someone else, or like I don't want you to be with anyone else except for me. Okay. And like yeah, it's like maybe towards the end of the relationship, but okay, makes sense. So I mean I was like saying like it's kind of like them like talking about like a problem, so it's kind of like giving like there is like something like it's the relationship's about to end over something. So it was kind of close but not really. Okay, so I think I don't know if this is the last song or there's one more, I think, but I have heard the song already before. Hanta ra.
Walang kahit sino makakapigil sa ibigayang ibigin kang malaya. Oh, hiraya, saglit lang at ating tuklasin mensahe ng mga bituin. Gusto ko lang may kalmadong puso't isip bawat segundo. There's no one that can take this from us. Just as long as I live, I protect this love. Ikaw ang pangyari, ikaw ang pangyari. Tanging naglalakad ng kulay sa akin. Kaya manawari, kibat ko ang ilalim. Isang halip may babalik ang kalayahan ko. Hiraya, hiraya, hiraya. Parang man ang kahit anong balakid sa harap ko, hahanapin ko pa rin ang daan pabalik sa'yo. Di sa tatang oras-oras ay kakasama dapat araw-araw na. Kahit na hindi ko manalayo sa lamang kapag mananatiling sa'yo. Gusto ko lang ikalmado, puso't isip bawat segundo. There's no one that can take this from us. Just as long as I live, I can take this love. Kaya tanawari, ikaw ang bagay. Laging naglalakad ng kulay sa akin.
I can see why they added this in here, because like it's been a couple of months since they released this song, but it fits very much with like the theme of the entire album so far. Hey, because basically them like saying like oh like I'll protect you, like like and what we have together, like nothing will come in between us.
Hiraya manawari, ikaw ang bahagari. Tanging naglalapat ng kulay sa aking mundo. Hiraya manawari, iwan ko ang ilabi. Isang halip may babalik ang kaya sa'yo. Hiraya,
look up the lyrics 'cause, like it's been so long since I've seen that MV, and also like I don't remember if whenever I reacted to the MV if it had lyrics at the time or not, cause it's been so long. And like I said, like I didn't. This one wasn't like the main ones that I go back to listen to. Like I said, I already listed a couple of them that I do listen to a lot more. But let me see. Hiraya Alamat lyrics. Hiraya, Hiraya. Okay, the fruit of one's hopes, dreams, and aspirations and imagination, they shouldn't take along. Okay, so yeah, so it's like talking about like their relationship, I'm guessing. Like I said, very much like, oh, like their final like goal to be together and, you know, like be respectful, but also like, you know, I'll be like there for you like when you need me and like vice versa. But like it's a very good song. Very, I definitely like enjoyed it more hearing it the second time around. Like I said, it's just been so long since I've heard the song from previously from like the MV that I reacted to for it. Okay, but I think should be the last. Yes, this should be the last song. So, Sayo Parin Ugi. I don't know. I don't think I've heard this. I think this is also a new song. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's been a minute since there's like a couple songs that I just like I said I don't remember them because of the um Tagalog title. Like sometimes like it's easier for me to remember more so like the English ones. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and listen. This is gonna be the last song that we listen to. Ooh.
Nadaanan ko na papunta sa iba't ibang mundo. Mga kusani, sari-sari ang lahi. Naranasan ko ng lahat na sila yan ang dulo. Sa kabila ng mga balakbakan, sa likod ng mga halangan, nangungulit.
It sounds like kind of like uplifting, but kind of like hopeful in a way. It's a good song to like end the album off with for sure. Cause like we kind of started off like strong and then kind of like it mellowed out as it went, and then this is like kind of like the end of it. So. Like I said, it's like very much like very like uplifting and kind of like in a way a little bit like I was gonna say it kind of sounds like a little bit like a spiritual kind of song where like, you know, like you're like chanting in a way, or like, you know what I mean? or like a motivational song, I guess, and like I said, hopeful. Ooh, like that little. Ooh, the runs always kill me. Whew. Okay. So I guess we're gonna figure out what this one is about because, like I said, very interesting. Not interesting, but like how they went from like beginning to like the pride as a group and like love for the group to like just completely being about like love and the different types of like the feelings that come with it and like the ups and downs of it and like different phases of it to like the ending. So I'm like wondering if it's gonna be like the same like on the same topic of them ending it off on or yeah. Okay, so yeah, then they dropped this song. So they have dropped this song before. I just hadn't heard it because like I didn't. It was in 2024, way before like I got into like their discography, and I don't think I ever made it to this song. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think I ever made it to this song. But okay, so it's like I will still go home to you. So I'm guessing maybe like talking about maybe like their love for like the fandom as well. You know what I mean? So I think it's just like yeah, that's why it's so like kind of like hopeful or kind of like like a more like easy kind of going vibe. It's like very like also like emotional because like oh I may like have like my struggles or whatever, but like I still will always have like like that safe space when I go back home and like you are my home. It's what it's giving. So like I said, very interesting. Like in terms of like the album, because I was like, oh, like I guess they're talking about like Destino in terms of like oh like maybe how they say like oh like some like love or like love like is like love at first sight or something like that is like destiny or like different types of like things that happen in like relationships or just like in general in life like is fate and like destiny. So like maybe so like like I said for the beginning of the song, like beginning of the album being like Luz V Minda, I was like, oh, okay, very much like I said, very much like them talking about like pride and being in the group, like the love for the group, but also like, showing that like they don't care what other people think of them or like what like haters say about it because like they it's what's more important about like is the relationship between them and like as a group and like the members and like with the fandom. So like, okay, like makes sense. So, like I said, pride is a form of like love, and so starting off with that, I was like, okay, where is this gonna end up going? I wasn't sure what the rest of the album's gonna end up going. So for it to like go and like talk about like a lot of like love songs and like relationship songs, like things that people like can relate to, was like, oh, okay, like a turn that I was not expecting. But like I said, with the album being called Destino, I was expecting it to be like them talking about like more so about like their group in terms of the songs. But I was like, oh, okay, I'm much like very much surprised with how they ended up being more so about like love in general and like just like I said, very much something that people can relate to. But I think, like I said, Destino also talking about like, like I said, more so about like, it's always like fate or like destiny that you end up finding someone that you want to like be with and then like end up being like end up spending the rest of your life with. So it's like oh that, and then like them ending it off with like it being like oh like you're my safe space, like you're where I always will feel comfortable, or I always like go to for rest. So like okay, I like the meaning of that song for sure. So it's just like very interesting to see like in terms of like because like for me like I said, not knowing any of like their languages or Tagalog and just kind of going based off like either like feeling or like based off like some of the few English lyrics that they give in some of their songs, which like most of it was there's a few songs I had it here and there, but for the most part, the rest of the songs like were mostly in like I said either Tagalog or like Wiraya or whatever language it is, like because they constantly do different parts that from whichever member is singing is like from that that area in the Philippines and what language they speak, you know what I mean? So it's like interesting like to see how if it ends up like just like by the feeling or just from like the few words like a few English words that I understand, if I'm able to get the main idea of what the song is about, which is like for some of them I like did not, some of them I was just like, oh, kind of way off, but thankfully like I was able to like somewhat like look up lyrics here and there, or like translations. Not all of them had like, translation. More, some of them were more so like just like the Google AI like kind of translating it for me. So like okay, like can I, so I can get a like general idea of what the songs are about. So I was like very surprised to find out they were mostly about like love. But yeah, anyways, this is where I'm gonna end off my album listening. I don't know if they're gonna end up doing like another like um I know they dropped the performance MV, so I might watch that next to see like the choreo, like more of the choreo, because we only got to see like parts of it throughout the MV. But other than that, like I don't, I guess we'll have to see if like they end up. Sometimes they drop like B-side like MVs or something like that. So I'm wondering if they'll drop anything like that or anything more that I can watch. That's like because I know for the most part I told y'all before that I wanted to get more into them and watch like some behind the scenes of stuff, but unfortunately like it's not translated into English and I can't. I'm just gonna be if I try to watch it, I'm just gonna be kind of mostly sitting there and kind of not understanding, except for like maybe few bits and pieces of English that they end up using or end up saying. So I'm just like I don't want to be completely like just watching and not like completely understand and like miss the point or like what the conversations are. So that's why I'm like haven't been doing behind the scenes like some people who were when I first got into Alamat were asking me to do, because like I said, it's like that language barrier, which is always like a downside of being like an international fan or someone like like from a different country that doesn't understand the language and kind of just having to like either just like enjoy like just fully just like the music, which I'm like there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I really do love music in general, no matter what language it is. So it doesn't matter, like I still vibe with the songs, but like in terms of like content and like trying to keep up with them and their activities in that like aspect of like things that they drop for content like that, it's just harder for me. But anyways, aside from that, y'all, this is where we're gonna end my my video. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one.